Yo, what's going on, guys? Let's get right into the video. Newcastle's abilities. Yeah, it's pretty much it. Meet Newcastle. They're gonna show us what he does. Usual stuff as soon as every season's about to launch.
Protector of the week, champion of Harris Valley, savior. Newcastle has been called a lot of things, but no one really knows the man behind the mask.
I bring hope to the hopeless.
No one but me.
I'm Newcastle. I'll make sure everyone makes it home.
Which home is that again?
I won't let you down, even when you're down.
He can use his knockdown shield to drive wounded teammates to safety.
Ha!
No one gets left out.
So I'm gonna talk about that real quick. I predicted that he would be able to like move people while reviving them, and it appears right here, as you just saw, he pulls up a knockdown shield, and as he's reviving you, he is moving you while you are also protected at that side, which is really nice. Really helpful for when people get knocked. The only caveat is, well, I mean, you have to get knocked. So, I mean, if you just don't die, easier said than done. But if you just don't die, then that ability is useless.
Don't let his dance moves fool you.
Yes, the Hammer Point P20.
Jack, Newcastle.
This shield, oh, I really like what they did with the shield.
Mates, whether they're moving into battle or running away from one.
Just trying to hold it down for the folks in Harris Valley.
Sometimes the best offense is a good defense.
Oh, you should see his ult here real quick. Yep, right here.
Newcastle can bring the cover. Thing is, walls are like secrets.
I wonder how strong those walls are gonna be, though.
We're gonna have a long talk, Newcastle. But until then, a little friendly competition.
Character. Okay, so I've already talked about his passive. He can pull up a knockdown shield while reviving people, and he can move while reviving them. So, like, let's say they get knocked out in the open, right? You can start reviving them in the open. Or, like, even, let's say they get knocked out in the open, right? You place your tactical to be moving forward to that downed player. When you now reach that player, then you start reviving them, and as you're reviving them, now you've put up the knockdown shield. So even if your tactical's gone, it's no biggie. You pull up your knockdown shield while you're reviving them, and you can be moving them back into cover. So right as, like, let's say right around the time that you've rounded that corner, that revive finishes, and now, like, as soon as they round the corner, like, they're up and about again. They're healing. They're doing their stuff, which is really cool. Interesting to see how Lifeline is going to be. I predict Lifeline still having pretty good pick rates, especially in something like Arenas, because Arenas has very little downtime. So I think Lifeline will still be picked a lot in Arenas, but I mean, not a lot of people play Arenas anyways. What else? His tactical, yeah. So I feel like when designing his tactical, right, it looks like they took a lot of the feedback they got from Rampart and decided to make sure to not make that mistake a second time with Newcastle. Now, here's what I mean by that. With Rampart, to get a really good benefit from Rampart's abilities, it, in many cases, not all the time, but in many cases, requires you to sit in one place. Because her to utilize her barricades can't move, so you kind of just have to sit there to use her barricades, right? Also, if she places a minigun for you, you can't move if you're using the minigun unless you're a Rampart herself. But yeah, so a lot of Rampart is just sitting in one place in order to truly get use out of her toolkit. But the thing is, Apex Legends is a very movement heavy game. These fights there's a lot of movement going on in these fights. There's a lot of repositioning and all that stuff. So what ends up happening is, if you try to play to the strengths of Rampart, in many situations, you end up setting yourself up for failure. And so here comes Newcastle with his tactical, where he can actually make it move. As you saw right here, I'm going to play it again real quick. Let's see if I can find it. Right here. His tactical moves.
Jack, Newcastle can still move.
See
His
that?
mobile shield protects his squad mates whether they're moving.
Let me see what that thing said real quick. It showed like a descriptor right
Newcastle
under
can
it.
still move.
All right, so tactical mobile shield. A projected energy shield that moves forward across the battlefield following terrain. This is so hard to read because of the background. Following terrain, blocks all weapon fire damage and deflects grenades and can be thrown while sprinting. Okay, that's cool. Now, what I'm wondering, so like that means like, you know, as you're activating the tactical, you don't slow down, which is actually like it's going to be surprisingly useful. Like for example, you know when you're using Wraith, right, and you're sprinting, and then like let's say you just start getting beamed from some random team, and you're like, oh shoot, I need to phase out of here and get to cover. You press that tactical button, and now you've been slowed down to a crawl. And so for that brief period right before you go into the void, you're a lot easier of a target to hit because you're moving so slow, right? That was one thing. That was one issue that a lot of people had with Loba's tactical, was as you're throwing the bracelet, you're slowed. I think you slow down to like walking speed, I believe, which was a really big handicap because especially if you're throwing that bracelet the full 72 meters, like you're just a sitting duck for a really long time. So you better hope you're safe. You know, I can't think of any other. I don't think there are any other tacticals where you do get slowed down. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you can throw it while sprinting. Now, what I'm wondering is how fast this barricade moves, how fast this shield moves. Does it move at base movement speed? Does it move at crouch walking speed? Or does it move at sprint speed? If it moves at sprint speed, oh man, this character is going to be good. If it moves at sprint speed, this character is going to be really good because it'll then allow you to really easily reposition and take like super crazy angles and go like, you know, take really nice flanks and stuff and cover ground without worrying about taking any damage. And you can do it really quickly because you're moving at sprint speed. That would be really cool. There was something else I want to say. Oh yeah, they showed like real quick a little bit further where you'll see a clip of him sniping the Revenant. The barricade like changes shape and becomes like really small, right? As you can, it's kind of a little bit hard to see here, but you can like kind of see this line here. It looks like you can make two forms of the barricade where like it's the full shield and then you got like the half shield here. I would assume you can change the shape by like pressing something on your D-pad or whatever, like how you can change Mirage's clones and stuff like that, or pick up Caustic's barricades or Caustic's gas traps. Let me see if I can find the clip real quick. Right here. Okay. So right here you see the barricade like changes shape. I keep calling it a barricade, but it's a shield. It doesn't really matter, honestly.
Running away from one.
Right there. Right there. You see that? Right here on the lower half of the screen? It changes shape and becomes smaller. And that means you can kind of like, depending on how tall this is, right? And depending on how tall the character you're playing is, I can see this being like a mobile head glitch. Like imagine you're pushing an area, right? And you literally just have a mobile head glitch with you as you're going. So like, let's say you're playing like, I don't know, a really tall legend like Pathfinder, right? Or even, I would assume Newcastle's a tall legend. And he's probably also going to have Fortified from what it looks like, because it looks like he's a super defensive legend. So I would assume he has Fortified as well, which is really useful. But let's say, you know, you're playing Newcastle, you drop the shield, you then turn it into the shorter form, right? And you're pushing somewhere, or like, I don't know, let's say you're even just sitting still, but you just need extra cover. You can just create your own head glitch with this shield, which would be really cool. I'd love to see if you can still peek over the shield while staying crouched. If you can, that's massive. That is massive. You literally have your own on-demand head glitch, which is really cool. And I actually see that being really useful in high-level play. Now, what I'm not too sure about is whether or not we'll see this character in the ALGS. I don't think we will, but I mean, no, not every character has to be competitive, you know. At the end of the day, it's a video game, it's for fun. Not everyone has to be competitive at the highest level. I think this legend's going to be a really nice addition to the game. I'm really glad that he doesn't have a tactical that damages people, because I'm getting really tired of these tacticals that damage people. Like don't get me wrong, a damaging tactical in and of itself is not that big of a deal, right? Like we have Ash's tactical, which does like what, 20 damage. We got Valkyrie's tactical, we got Revenant's tactical, you know, they all do damage. Not that big of a deal when you're just in a 3v3 fight or something like that. But when you're in a late game situation, when you're in a late game situation, you don't. There's teams all over the place. You can't really move anywhere much because like you step here, you get beamed by this team on your left. You step there, you get beamed by that team. Like there's like 6 teams in a really small area, right? And then you're getting Rev tactical, Ash tactical, double fuse tactical, Valkyrie tactical. It starts to get really infuriating, and it really drives me nuts sometimes. So I really hope that they honestly just stop with the tacticals that do damage. I think it's enough. We have enough legends that have damaging tacticals, and we don't need more. I think this Newcastle legend, he's got some really cool abilities. I like what he brings to the table. I don't think he's going to be used in competitive, but I think he will have a really high pick rate in just like regular casual pubs lobbies and in ranked and stuff like that. Think a lot of people are going to enjoy him. And from what I saw in the other video where he was first introduced, he seems to have like a pretty cool personality. And I do know that a big contributor to why a lot of people main certain legends in Apex is the character's personality. I think he has like really likable character traits, which is also going to lead to possibly a lot of people picking him up. I think it's a great addition to the game. He's got really cool abilities, like I said earlier. Yeah, that's Newcastle. So, all that being said, let me know in the comments what you think about the legend. Just any cool ideas you got for the legend. Anyways, y'all take care.